What would you do if at age 21 your entire world turned upside down? Well, today that's what happened for my guest here on Leading Our Own Way. We begin an extraordinary 5-part journey with the amazing and beautiful Tracey Di Ciero, whose story of facing cancer became a powerful testament to human resilience. In the first installment here on Monday, or whatever day you listen it on, but it's Monday for me, Tracey takes us back to a moment that changed everything. From a young teacher starting her career to receiving news that would test her very core. You won't want to miss this raw and honest beginning of a story that proves our biggest challenges can become our greatest strengths. Make sure you to follow at Leading Our Own Way on all the platforms. Go and look at the www.leadingourownway.com and go and support us on Spotify and Apple too, pretty much anywhere. But here to catch all 5 parts of the incredible journey. Here's Tracey. Enjoy. Welcome to Leading Our Own Way. I'm your host, Andrew White, and this is the podcast that unveils captivating narratives of resilience and personal triumph. This podcast is for anyone seeking inspiration and insights on overcoming life's challenges. Follow and subscribe, and then we can lead together forever. Tracey Di Ciero, how are you tonight, Tracey?
I'm fantastic. Thank you, Andrew. It's lovely to catch up with you again and chat.
Yes, this has been coming a long time, hasn't it, Tracey?
Oh, it has, hasn't it? We planned it out, I think, in December, and now we're here today doing it. It's fantastic.
I've been looking forward to this. Thank you for joining me on my journey. Thank you for joining me on Leading Our Own Way podcast. I hope you've been enjoying some of the episodes. If you've ever had time to look at us and you know some of the amazing guests that we have, you've joined a beautiful community. I feel. I hope you feel the same.
I do. I'm looking forward to watching more of them. I have to admit, I've only seen little bits and pieces at the moment, but definitely looking forward to seeing them all.
That's good. No, thank you for joining me. It's a pleasure to have you on the show, and I'm glad we finally got together. But we've texted and we've communicated and we've kept a bit of a relationship going, haven't we? We've got actually a few things in common.
We certainly have.
Yeah, we're both teachers.
We are. We've been teaching for a while.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure we will dive into that a little bit, into that journey. But I tell you what, if we were going to sum up the topics we're going to discuss tonight, what words, what phrases or sentence do you think best represent your journey?
I think for me, Andrew, it's being empowered and resilient. And I think that's where I'm landing now over my lifetime, getting through some of the challenges and adversity and just being strong and confident and enjoying life. So I'm at that point now where I feel that that's probably summing up a lot of the journey.
That's great. And I usually start off with, I always ask the guests, I want it to become a bit of a cliche. It's become quite funny to me in my own head. But the podcast, as you know, is called Leading Our Own Way. And I always ask the guests, how are they leading their own way? So Tracey, that question goes to you. How do you feel you're leading your own way today?
For me, leading my own way, I'm starting to step out and do a lot more leadership type things, setting up groups. So I've set up 3 different groups on Facebook. I've set up one called Empowered and Resilient Women Rise and Thrive, for a group for women, so helping support women. I've set up a group for cancer support, so a cancer support group, as well as a crochet and craft group. So I think stepping out and actually taking opportunities, and usually I like to support people with their opportunities, but I think I'm stepping out a bit more and setting them up because I like to connect to people. So that's how I'm leading my own way, just planning goals and actually feeling the courage to actually step out and do those things that I've always wanted to do.
Yeah, nice. So what do you do professionally at the moment then?
So at the moment I'm setting up a business. So I've been working on, I have a couple of businesses. So I have a crochet and craft business, and I also have one that I'm setting up into coaching now. So I did at the start of the year, did coaching, like transformational life coaching course and neuro-linguistic course, and had plans to set up that. But I'm doing a few other things as well. So I'm really hoping to support people living with cancer, their carers, and also help organisations that are doing research as well, because that's one of the things that I've chosen to really support at the moment. Yeah.
All very empowering. And I guess why these areas? Where did they touch your heart in your journey? Why do this now?
It's amazing. That's a really good question, because I think as a child, I had all these ideas and always felt like I better check if I can do them. Can I do them? Is it okay with everyone? Am I making sure everyone's going to be happy about what I'm doing? And I think as I've grown up, and even in our teaching role, we learn to be confident and lead. And I think at this stage in my life, after COVID in particular, where a lot was happening at that time, I think I started to realise that, wow, I have had this amazing long life that I didn't think I was going to have after having cancer as a 21-year-old. And so just stepping out, and I really wanted to make a difference and leave a bit of a legacy. So helping people that perhaps were going through similar things in their life, you know.
Mm.
Often in challenges, you look for people that can help you, that have been there and been through those particular hardships and adversity. So
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
why.
Yeah, beautiful. And you've just recently wrote a book.
I can't believe it.
Amazing.
I have a couple of books on the computer. I wrote a children's book, and I haven't done anything with that yet. But one of the books that I really wanted to write, once sort of COVID hit and things were happening there, and I started to reflect, I thought, what can I do that leaves a legacy? And I had kept diaries from when I was 21 going through cancer, and that's how I coped. And so I wrote a book called Empowered and Resilient: Sarcoma Cancer Discovered the Strength in Me. And just wanted to get that out there, because the cancer that I had at 21 was a cancer. Approximately 1% of all the adult cancers are estimated to be sarcoma. And it's so rare, even though there are different types of sarcomas. I just thought someone out there might be like me when I was going through it, I was looking for someone who'd been there and done that. And I just wanted to make sure that every story, every journey, every person's cancer journey is important to be shared, because they all add up for support for others. So that's why I wrote mine.
Absolutely. And that's the purpose of the podcast, isn't to share these stories, to share all these unbelievable topics so people can see, look, you're not the only one. You're on your own. You're not the only one. But two, we've got choices. We can make choices. We can either sit in it and do nothing, or we can fight and we can power through. Yeah. You use the words empowerment and resilient. Why those words come? Why do those shining lights for you then?
For me, I use those two words because I think part of the journey when you have cancer, your life, I do feel your life flashes before your eyes, and you're given this diagnosis and all these questions and thoughts run through your mind, and you think, how am I going to cope? Am I going to get through this? Am I going to survive? How long have I got? And on the journey, you do feel a little bit like you are swallowed up a little bit in the medical system. You have to have your treatment, you have to have your surgery, you have to do all those things, and your life as you know it and the choices that you're able to make each day have to fit in amongst all of that, the medical journey as well. So I think that empowered and resilient, I had to travel 2 hours to the city to go for my treatment and stay down in the city during the week and then travel home. And I did that on my own. I stayed with a cousin during the week. But I think the empowered and resilient is that there are some things that you can actually help you to cope, because emotionally you have to deal with a lot of emotions. So when you can feel like you have some choices that you can make. So for me, some of the choices that I made when I was being treated, I visualized water and sunlight and just that nice visualization to help me cope with some of the treatment. Empowered myself by being able to go to the support group. So I went up to the occupational therapy room, and I had choices. I could wait up there rather than wait in the waiting room. So I think resilient too, because you're coping with all of that. What are the strategies you're using to cope emotionally? And I think it is a big thing about being resilient and getting through those times. You will have times where you need support. So I think that that's part of the journey. So being empowered and resilient was part of that journey, empowering myself to get through it all and to cope, yeah, and be resilient and come out the other end.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, it's weird that we're bringing this scenario up because my friend from the UK was here. He's actually been a guest on the podcast. He was my second guest, Don Johnson, and he was in hospital here at Christmas. He came to visit us, and he got rushed into hospital. And I was in the car park talking to another a patient with cancer, and she actually shared a very similar journey to you in the sense of she's from the country.
Mm-hmm.
She's left her daughter with her mother back in a little town hours away, and where we live is the nearest hospital to her, and certainly that deals with her type of cancer. And I forget what type of cancer it is, and I apologise because I know she possibly is listening because I did share the podcast with her. Mm-hmm. And I just remember she'd go to the water and sit there and on her own. She'd talk to a family back home, but then she'd go and sit in a room in the hotel, and she had to pay for all of this and pay for the hotel and be away, and she'd go home for the weekend, might come back the Monday and do 2-week stints every so often. So that's I heard that firsthand from her, like I'm hearing this from you now, and I could see it on her. I can see it in her and how she was being so strong. Yeah. Sat on this car park, and we just opened up on the bench. It was a beautiful moment, and I hope she's listening to this, because I think I actually recall saying I'm actually going to be sharing a similar journey, cancer related, very soon, because it was about that time we'd spoken, maybe a matter of weeks before, because this was December. So with all of these things, amazing things you're doing now, and how you're leading your way, I recall are you doing speeches as well, some keynote speeches around this?
I have written a keynote speech, and my signature keynote speech is surviving cancer from feeling alone to empowered and resilient. And basically, my key line is, in unity, we can find strength, courage, and support. Remember, reach out, we have each other. I think part of that journey was I realised, going through my journey, I was navigating how I was feeling, and then also navigating how people around me were feeling, and were they coping, and trying to make it easier for them too, because I had to leave home, and I said to my parents, I've got 7 weeks of treatment, I'm okay, I'm 21, I can do this, I won't interrupt life, you keep working. And so I pushed down a lot of my feelings and just be strong. And I realised over time that there came a time where I did have to reach out and tell people how I was feeling, but didn't really want to burden anyone, because I thought I just had 7 weeks of treatment, I should be okay, I'll get through this, I'm strong enough. And I've learnt one of the phrases I use now is, inner strength is my superpower, because I believe that we are so strong inside ourselves and we can cope with a lot of different things, and as we get through them, we become stronger. And I really feel that that's how I've come out now. I'm stronger. I always wonder about cancer, whether it will ever come back for me, but I try not to think about that. I just try to move on with each day and live in the moment, and just keep trying to be strong and share my story and support others through their journeys as well.
You've more than answered the question I was going to ask, because I was going to ask, through your keynote speeches and coaching sessions, what would be the one single message that you wanted to get through, but you've just answered that tenfold. So.
I tend to get on there a bit and
that's good.
Extra. Yeah,
no, it's absolutely amazing. It's weird because I remember it was in our pre-chat we spoke about choices, and this podcast is to help people understand that we have choices, no matter how dark of a space we are in. And I've been there as well with my own dark spaces, and it took me a long time to make certain choices, right? But I know the typical response would be, no, yeah, but we don't have choices because, we've got to do this, we've got to look after that, we've got a house, or we've got to do this, we've got to do, with something as dark, because it's not just the cancer journey we're going to be talking about today with you, it's other things, and we will get into that. But with that in mind, for those people who say it's not as easy as you think, then they don't think about who they're talking to and who they might have gone through. And I've heard it when I talk about this in the podcast.
Yeah.
I'm rambling now, but they turn around and say, oh, it's just not that easy to make choices. What would your message to be to them then? Because you have been through a couple of things that we, again, go through, but you've made choices. Yeah, what would you be? I struggle with this part. What's your pivotal moment? How do we get that message across to people that we do have choices? Because that's a key word for me. Join us tomorrow to hear more from today's incredible guests and learn valuable insights to help you lead your own way. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you then.